Hey everybody, and welcome back to Super Comic Fun Time for June 6th, 2018. This is New Comic Book Day, and we went to the store, and I think we got more books than last time and spent less, because last time we bought all of the Doomsday Clock books, and I've read them all, and I'll do a show soon on those. I'm kind of pondering if I should do a show on those now or wait like another year for it to finish. I don't know. But let me go through my stack that I got today. So here we go. This is what I picked up today. First on the list, the one I was most excited for was Man of Steel #2. And I'll talk about this one more in depth later because I read that one. That's the only one I've read so far. I picked up True Believers, Antman and Wasp #1. I know there was a book out, but I didn't get that. No, well, I guess I just didn't really know. I was unsure if I should pick it up. And like, you know, money can be an issue sometimes. And I was looking forward to this one, even though I have not been following, it doesn't say on this one, but on some of the books I got, it says like, you know, following out of Dark Knight Metal or whatever. So I don't know anything about that. But I was excited to get the new #1 for Justice League, and I haven't really looked at it beyond that. Let's see. Also, out today was the Unexpected #1. This is the one I think that says, yep, Dark Knight's Metal. So this is a metal tie-in, and I haven't read any of the metal books. I have no idea what they're about, so we'll find out if they. You know, I was trying to figure out who wrote this one, and you know, I'm not finding it like on the front page, so I had to go look it up. But when I opened this one up, I found out that it had a kind of poster inside. Whoops, here we go. So that's kind of a cool surprise. It looks almost like it. You put them together and it builds a puzzle. Like this is part of another picture, and I don't know if they're all for this one. I guess we should look at, this is what it, I didn't even look at this one, so yeah, I really don't know, haven't looked it up. I just knew this was coming out today, and I decided to get it. Oops, I have to keep stuff in order for what I want to talk about. Then also from last week, I picked, oh no, not also from last week. These two are from last week. The last two are from last week, excuse me. Spider-Man 800, which is a thick book. Look at that. So, so yeah, this should be fun. Hopefully, I've heard really good things about it. You know, I grew up a Spider-Man fan. Spider-Man was my big draw to Marvel, and you know, I'm willing to read a good Spider-Man story if they're willing to put one out. Then I've also heard good things about this Super Sons and Dynomutt, which, you know, somebody, like I asked about this book last week when somebody read it and talked about it, how it was good, and they led me to believe that it was Super Sons, all one word, and so I felt kind of stupid, but I'm not really following, you know, I've really only been buying new books for like the past, this is a month now, whenever The Prisoner came out, I think, and I guess I started small. I was like getting some of the True Believer stuff, but now I'm getting like, you know, full-blown addict syndrome. But anyway, Super Sons is 2 words. It's not 1 word. It's not Super Sons. It's Super Sons. And this is with Dynomutt and can't remember, oh, the Blue Falcon. I used to watch that show. It was dumb. I don't know why I watched it, probably because it was a Saturday morning cartoon. But I've heard good stuff about this book, and I was told I didn't have to really read the Super Sons books in order to enjoy it. So also on my list that I had planned on getting but didn't get was, is it the Invincible Hulk? No, the Immortal Hulk #1 was out today. I didn't see that, and my comic book shop was a little busier than usual. And then I just thought, well, if it's good, I'll hear about it and I can pick it up next week. And then I also thought about getting the Button. The only, like, the comic book shop I go to, they have like some really old books from like whatchamacallit, Future's End. So I thought, oh, there's a chance they'll have those 2 comic books, but they only had the graphic novel version, and I didn't feel like dropping another 20 down today. But yeah, the reason I wanted to get that is because I guess reading backwards, I read, like I said, I read the Doomsday Clock, the first 5 issues of the Doomsday Clock last week. I think I will do just a brief review. It's really good. The artwork is fantastic. The story is compelling. You know, I'm hooked. I'm going to finish it. At the same time, I have like questions. Is like, who is this written for? You know, on one level, because I remember when I read The Watchmen in the early 2000s, I really felt it was a perfect story the way it is. When I reread it in February, when Comic Book Girl 19 was doing her series on it, I thought, okay, I can see where there could be, you know, what's his name? Alan Moore had left some threads there. They could carry on. I'm not sure if he would have gone this way. You know, basically it's the Watchmen crossover. Some of the Watchmen, the ones who are still alive, spoiler alert, crossover into a DC universe. I don't know if it's the main DC universe. I don't know what the main DC universe is. I don't really care as long as the stories are good. You know, I heard, you know, when I wasn't reading comics, I heard a lot of criticism about the New 52, but the stuff I've read from the New 52, I've kind of liked. So this book I like. It's great. It's not as great as The Watchmen. If you're a Watchmen fan and you're not getting this because of some loyalty to Alan Moore, I can't fault you for that. You should maybe not get it. It's good though. The artwork is great and it is compelling. It makes you want to see what happens next. And so the next issue comes out in August. And it's a good set. I love the artwork. You know, probably my favorite cover of the series. So yeah, and I'm not really going to go into too much more on that. Maybe when the whole set is done in a year or so, I will go into some detail then. Maybe I'll reread it. As for today, I did read Man of Steel #2. Fantastic, fantastic. On the Venom scale, about same as last time. I think I rated the first one 8.3. This is about the same. And I would say like the Doomsday Clock as a whole, all 5 issues, about a 7 on the Venom scale. They're very good. I'm going to keep reading them. I'm not sure I would read them if, I mean, yeah. So anyways, we've already talked about that. So this, you know, last week I criticized the covers somewhat because I thought it was good, but I didn't know why all those other superheroes were on it. This one I like much better, even though, once again, okay, spoilers. So let me just give you my impressions before I go into it too far. I don't want to spoil anything, you know, when I'm talking about the cover. This is a good book. Like I say, 8.3. Recommend. If you got the first one, you're getting the second one because they're both really good. And so that's it. The rest of the show is spoilers. Quit watching here. I'm not going to put any tags up to tell you where the spoilers are. This is where the spoilers are. Stop watching if you don't want them. So I read this book this afternoon on the way home on the bus, and it is brilliant. So back to my discussion of the cover. This doesn't actually happen in the book, but it's a great cover. I think it's like Jonathan Kent revealing to a young Kal-El or young Clark that his heritage, you know, you've got the S there. That's what I think it is. Maybe it's not, but it's a great cover. I really like it. And let's get into the story. So it starts with Krypton exploding. You have 2 Guardians talking. You have that guy, absolutely. What was his name again? It says here someplace. Anyways, so like this dude here is really pissed at this dude here because Krypton exploded. And what's his name? Rogol Zahl was talking about it. I didn't realize he was a Green Lantern. You know, I knew he was a warrior. I didn't realize he was actually a Green Lantern, but he's a Green Lantern. And this guy's like complaining about it. And this guy says, hey, dude, if even though we told him not to blow up Krypton, he blows up Krypton, what do you think he's going to do to your 42 worlds? So like they're a little afraid. He goes, you know, your best case scenario is that he died in the attack on Krypton. And then they talk about how they both share the same, he talks about how they both share the same guilt, which is not seeing this coming. Like they both misjudged that Ragu Zal. And so, so yeah, and then he goes back to the planet, and I guess he just assumes the guy is dead. He's like, I really hope, he goes, Rogol Zar, may you have died with your final sin, and that this and all other ugly secrets disappear with you. But of course it never does. Now we're getting into a weird part. We're back in the newsroom, and there was just some bizarre stuff going on in the background. So you have two women talking, and I know there's some feminist tests where they're two women talking about something other than a man. Well, they're talking about a man and a woman. They're talking about Lois Lane and Clark Kent. So like Lois Lane has disappeared, and I, you know, if that was covered in previous Superman books, I don't know it. But what drew my attention, you know, and like they're talking, it's like, go ask Clark, he knows, he's not saying blah, blah, blah. But so like you have this guy here, he's wearing a number 73 shirt, and you know, you see it, he's just getting up. And then next time you see him here, he's got a cup of coffee in his hand. Then you don't see anything in the background. Then suddenly you see this here, this bizarre stuff. He's like grabbing this guy by the collar, and there's two people here kind of freaking out. And then you turn the page, and you know, like there's this other guy here getting pushed out of the way, and there's like Perry White saying, stop asking about taking Lois Lane's office. And, you know, he makes some reference to, he goes, stop asking me for Lois Lane's office. And like, I guess this is Jimmy Olsen. I don't remember him looking like that in the last issue, but he's got the red hair, so I assume it's Jimmy Olsen. He goes, I said I was joking, Mr. White. He goes, you want that office? Right as good as she did. And he goes, as good or as well. And then Jimmy goes, should I get a dictionary or? And then Perry White goes, Lois Lane would know because she was a real writer. Back to work. And so then like, yeah, and so like, you know, those, all that stuff that was happening in the background on the previous page isn't here. I don't know what that was about. I don't know if it was an inside joke. I enjoyed it. I mean, it was actually like, trying to figure out what was going on with it. Like, you know, I don't know if somebody brought him coffee, because he's kind of looking in the cup in this one. So this is a mystery. If you know what's going on here, comment down below. Okay. Then we went through that. Oh yeah, and then Superman's coming back from like fixing a tsunami someplace. And he meets this robot guy. He beats it. And then like Hal Jordan shows up and says, you never, you know, I called you for dinner, you never talk. And it's like, really good to see you, Green Lantern. I like how they do the words here. It's like, really good to see you, Green Lantern. And yeah, this was good. And so like Superman, he's got a secret. Something's happened to his son and Lois Lane. And I don't know if that was explained in other books. And like, you know, we come here and we see this, there's like this thing, and like little John is like saying, what is it, Dad? What is it? And then like, we got some ads. You need justice to fight doom. So twice monthly. So I guess this is Justice League will be out again in 2 weeks. So that's interesting to know. Yeah, and so like, yeah, something happens here and Superman crashes into the moon and creates a new crater. And then we kind of like flash back or flash someplace else, and we're like on some alien planet, the far end of the Vega system. And this guy here, which I assume is Rogol Zar, but it might not be, is like he's having a drink. They're like celebrating the loss of comrades and stuff. And then he sees the Superman logo, Superman. So that's like a really weird Superman logo. That's what the bartender says, Superman. But yeah, I'm not sure what that is. So like here, and you've got the classic red and blue symbology that also is like how they divide whatchamacallit, 3D glasses. And yeah, some more stuff happens. Like there's another fire. There's arsons going on, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So it'll be continued next week. So yeah, like it. Yeah, the ending is pretty much like Perry White. Clark Kent shows up back at work, and Perry White is kind of like all bummed out, and he's like, you know, we've got to. What does he say? We need to show the public things they don't know yet, and we have to do it every day, multiple times a day, or we are going to fold. And so you got this. This is kind of a cool sequence down here. Is like while Perry is like fretting over this, you see him as a young man, you know, eager reporter at the typewriter, and as he ages through the years, and now here he is at the end of his life. Newspapers are no longer relevant. And then like this girl from the other scene comes in and says, we should tell them about Lois Lane. And Clark, you know, you want to keep them coming? You want to stay open another week? Tell them about Lois Lane. And yeah, that's pretty much it. There might be something on the last page, but you should get the book and see for yourself. It was a good book. I really enjoyed it. A good read. From the cover to the end. I look forward to next week's installment of The Man of Steel. And so I think I've given you a lot today. I've talked about the books I bought this new comic book day. I've talked about the Doomsday Clock, and I went in depth on Man of Steel 2. So be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, share it with your friends. Look down in the links. I didn't go over the news today. There's still like 2 Indiegogos going on. I don't remember if I talked about Ethan Van Sciver's Cyberfrog one. I'm pretty excited for that. And I linked down below if you're interested in checking that out. And then Zach, Diversity in Comics, his Indiegogo is still going until the end of the month, I believe. I think it ends in July. And since his book won't be available in stores, if you want to get it, you should click the link and take a look and see if it's something that you would like. And until next week, for at least New Comic Book Day, I'll try to get some, I've got some videos I'd like to get done. Summertime, lots of work to do, both inside and outside. But I love doing these videos. I will especially do them on New Comic Book Day as the summer progresses. So super comic fun time out.